Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here's the headline. This is a fun one. Man sues Ripple for not yet making him a billionaire. Now, I want to be very clear at the outset of this video that this is a joke by the author. This is not a real thing here. Think of this author, he's XRP The Standard Productions. He's got his own little blog here on Coil, and it's hilarious, by the way. He's just got tons of entries. But basically, think of his blog as basically like the Onion of the XRP community. He writes all sorts of hilarious stuff, like, for instance, like here's the first one I ever came across, and I didn't realize at first reading the headline, I didn't realize that there was a joke blog like this out here. And so here's the first headline I ever, and I actually covered this in a video whenever this came out. Swift CEO touts study that says, quote, people love waiting for money. And I read that and I was like, there's no way that guy said that. And so I clicked on it and I read through the thing, and it became clear very quickly that it was a joke. And then I found out that he's got this whole series, and I encourage you to check this out. Like, there was another one, I haven't read one of these yet, that really caught my attention. And do you remember when Alex Holmes, MoneyGram CEO, was being interviewed on CNN by Julia Chatterley? That was pretty darn recently here. And so I saw this, here we go, December 18th, 2019. I haven't clicked on this yet, but the picture is hysterical. So you got Julia Chatterley from CNN on the left, and on the right you can see here MoneyGram CEO Alex Holmes. And he's got what looks like a suicide bomber vest on him right here with the headline, MoneyGram CEO demands Ripple release more on-demand liquidity corridors in CNN interview. So I haven't read that one yet, but it looks hysterical. I'm going to have to read that after I finish recording here, but there's all sorts of good stuff. So I'm making this video purely for fun because I get a kick out of this stuff here. And when I'd covered this stuff in the past, the videos did well, so I assume that I'm not the only one that finds this stuff entertaining. So I'm going to cover that. And so where does a headline like this come from, though? Because there's always a little bit of truth to, like, when a statement like this is made. There's always something behind it, like a little tinge of truth. Man sues Ripple for not yet making him a billionaire. Well, it goes back to this story. This is just the most recent. I'm not going to really cover this, but just to make sure everybody's caught up, set the table here, as it were. Here's a piece from CoinDesk titled, Ripple files last bid to dismiss XRP Securities lawsuit before court meeting. And so there's this, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm sure most of you are already well versed on this anyway, or at least aware of it. There's this claim that Ripple is selling an unregistered security, and that as the value, the price of XRP has gone down, they want to be financially compensated as a result of this completely bogus stuff. So that's where this type of article is actually stemming from in the first place. Here you can see they cite this here. So there's a little subheading: "Ship has sailed?" ? Despite the plaintiff's claims that Ripple's engaged in an ongoing offering of securities, the filing said, Ripple first began selling XRP in 2013, meaning any case brought after the 3-year statute of repose should be dismissed. And so ultimately, I think this is all going to go nowhere, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware that's where this all stemmed from. And shout out to Oshio, who tagged me in this. I do appreciate it. And honestly, when I first came across this, I actually first saw this a couple days or so ago, and I hadn't covered it yet. Not because I didn't want to, but because everything else that I covered, it was kind of more time sensitive. Like, there's always developments on a daily basis, and even though I knew I wanted to talk about this one and cover it, it wasn't time sensitive, so I just kind of held off. But now's the right time, all right? So we're going to delve in here. So check this out. Man sues Ripple for not yet making him a billionaire. Claiming that a solemn promise has gone unfulfilled, 36-year-old Ken Schneidel of Shreveport, Louisiana, has issued a lawsuit to blockchain payments company Ripple for not yet making him a billionaire. Ripple, you wascally wabbit. My client is under extreme trauma, said Paul Waverman, Mr. Schniedel's attorney, after 3 torturous months of not having at least $1 billion. Mr. Schneidel, a grocery store clerk, invested in $35 in XRP after opening a Coinbase account in early October, and has claimed Ripple has caused him severe duress for not making his 150 XRP worth $6.7 million each in order to enable his desired billionaire status. And you can see there's a little picture of him right there with the little... I love this. Ken Schneidel holding a press conference outside his attorney's office. Schneidel is suing Ripple for $1.5 billion after they didn't make him a billionaire within 3 months of investing $35 in XRP. And you know what's extra funny is like a lot of people in the XRP community, and I can understand why, like some are more like realistic sounding headlines than others, but there are a lot of people that read the headlines, sometimes they even read the stories, and they think it's actual fact. Like I've seen crypto media do this too for various stories, and it just cracks me up. Nothing against you if you fall for it too. Like I can understand like some of these are written in such a way where even if it sounds outlandish, like there's just enough of a believability where I can understand. But yeah, some people have certainly fallen for this, but this is definitely a joke. Anyway, it continues here. This is horrible news for Ripple, said Laura Shin, host of the popular cryptocurrency podcast Unchained. In my opinion, and I'm very, very smart, Mr. Schneidel has a winning case. I can't wait to see Ripple burn. God, I hate them so much. Hashtag XRP the security. Now, and of course, Laura Shin, so she's got her it is a rather popular podcast, at least in terms of the world of crypto. And my gosh, I don't know if you've ever heard her. She could not be more anti-Ripple and anti-XRP. And I remember there was a controversy, I don't know if it was like a year or a year and a half ago or something like that, where she was going to have a podcast. I can't remember who was to be involved. And David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, co-creator of the XRP ledger, he tweeted to Laura Shin and said, "Hey," and I'm gonna have to paraphrase here, but something along the lines of, "Hey, I'd love to be on and talk to you about this." Of course, knowing that Laura Shin has a really anti-Ripple, anti-XRP stance, seems to be, from what I've gathered, I can't know her heart and mind, but I suspect the way she's worded things, it seems like it's ideologically driven. I think that's the case for a lot of like Bitcoin maxis and early Bitcoiners out there. Not all, but many. And so that's just my best guess, but I don't know that matter of factly, of course. But anyway, so David Schwartz, he tweeted her and he's like, "Hey, is there any chance that I can get on there?" And so she ultimately declined. And she demanded that if anybody from Ripple was going to be on, she wanted the head honcho. She wanted Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. And that didn't happen. And I don't know if what the behind-the-scenes communication would have looked like for that, but never came to pass. Certainly not the case that Brad Garlinghouse is by any means afraid to go on a podcast with somebody who has a strong opposing view, as evidenced by a recent podcast called Off the Chain, hosted by Anthony Pompliano, which is wildly popular. Definitely, Anthony Pompliano, he has got just hundreds of thousands of followers. And he's also one of the co-founders of Morgan Creek Digital, which is a pretty notable hedge fund, and they're the first to have a public have institutional money, public pension fund, actually invest with them and purchase actual cryptocurrency, as well as investing in blockchain companies as well. So Brad Garlinghouse, certainly no slouch, is certainly not afraid to talk to anybody about that. He has very strong opinions and I'd say well thought out stances as far as it pertains to Ripple's position in the world of blockchain and crypto, XRP as well. But it's just funny to me that she was absolutely insistent upon Brad Garlinghouse being the one turning down David Schwartz, which is ridiculous because if you think about it, David Schwartz, he is Ripple's CTO at the time. I guess he would have been chief cryptographer. I think it was long enough ago that he had a different title, and Stefan Thomas was still Ripple's CTO at the time before going off, and he ended up starting Coil, of course. But anyway, so, of course, David Schwartz, now Ripple CTO, co-creator of the XRP ledger, and she freaking turned him down. Can you imagine? My God. Like, I would flip out if David Schwartz were ever willing to talk to me and I could interview him. Like, seriously, that would be just like an unforgettable moment for my life. Like, that would just be ridiculous. And so that's why this paragraph specifically, these couple sentences just kind of made me crack up. And let me read it again now that you have the proper context of who Laura Shin is. This is horrible news for Ripple, said Laura Shin, host of the popular cryptocurrency podcast Unchained. In my opinion, and I'm very, very smart, Mr. Schneidel has a winning case. I can't wait to see Ripple burn. God, I hate them so much. Hashtag XRP the security. And I like that they wrote out the word hashtag instead of just using hashtag there. And then it wraps up by stating, Ripple has thus far not responded to XRP Productions' request for comment, but has previously stated their clear view that although they have financial products that utilize XRP, they have no control over the price of the digital assets. So there you go. I got a kick out of it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!